Welcome back. Today, we pause to remember someone who brought joy, laughter, and heart to millions of fans around the world. Nicholas Brendon, the American actor best known for playing Xander Harris on the beloved television series Buffy the Vampire Slayer, has passed away at the age of 54. His family confirmed on March 20th, 2026, that he died peacefully in his sleep from natural causes. Nicholas Brendon was born Nicholas Brendon Schultz on April 12, 1971 in Los Angeles, California. Growing up with a twin brother, Kelly, Brendon had a difficult childhood. He struggled with a stutter, dyslexia, and deep insecurities that made school a challenging place. But from an early age, he had a magnetic energy that people were drawn to, and it was only a matter of time before that energy found its home on screen. His breakthrough came when he was cast as Alexander, or Xander, Harris in Joss Whedon's groundbreaking series Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which premiered in 1997. While Buffy was the hero with the supernatural powers, it was Xander, the ordinary guy, the loyal friend, the one with no superpowers but an enormous heart, who became the emotional anchor of the show. Brendon played the role with warmth, humor, and a vulnerability that felt completely real. Fans didn't just like Xander, they saw themselves in him. And that is a rare and beautiful gift for any actor to give. Brendon appeared in all 7 seasons of the series, which ran until 2003, appearing in over 140 episodes. The show changed television history, and Brendon was a central reason why. His comedic timing was razor-sharp, his emotional scenes were deeply felt, and his chemistry with every cast member, from Sarah Michelle Gellar to Allison Hannigan to Charisma Carpenter, was genuine and effortless. After Buffy, Brendon continued to work steadily in television, with a recurring role on Criminal Minds and appearances in numerous projects. But it was his role as Xander that would forever define him in the hearts of fans. In his later years, Brendon faced very public personal struggles, including battles with addiction and mental health, which he faced with honesty and a willingness to share his journey openly. Those who loved him knew he was a deeply sensitive soul, and his family, in their statement after his passing, spoke of his passion for art and painting, which had become a powerful creative outlet in his final years. His Buffy co-star, Charisma Carpenter, wrote in tribute that she would miss the version of the man I once knew, someone who was so warm and loving. The outpouring from fans and colleagues alike confirmed what so many already knew. Nicky Brendon mattered. He mattered deeply. Nicholas Brendon was 54 years old. He leaves behind a legacy of laughter, of heart, and of proving that you don't need superpowers to be the heart of the story. Sometimes being human is more than enough. Rest in peace, Nicky. You were never a slacker. You were always the heart. Brad Arnold, American musician, age 47, died February 7th, 2026. Today, we honor a voice that defined a generation of rock music. Brad Arnold, the founding drummer and lead vocalist of the multi-platinum rock band 3 Doors Down, has passed away at the age of 47. He died on February 7th, 2026, following a courageous battle with stage 4 kidney cancer, a diagnosis he had shared publicly with heartbreaking honesty in the months before his death. Brad Arnold was born in Escatawpa, Mississippi on September 27, 1978. Raised in a small town with a big musical passion, Arnold discovered his love for music as a teenager, and it was in those formative years that he began tinkering with both the drums and songwriting. The talent he possessed was extraordinary, not just for rhythm, but for storytelling. He had the rare ability to write lyrics that felt deeply personal, yet universally understood. In the late 1990s, while still teenagers, Arnold and his bandmates formed what would become 3 Doors Down in Escatawpa.
The band would go on to become one of the most successful rock acts of the early 2000s. Their debut album, The Better Life, released in 2000, was a seismic event in rock music. The album spawned one of the most iconic rock songs of the decade, Kryptonite, a song that seemed to come out of nowhere and ended up on every radio station in the world. It spent 15 weeks at #1 on the Billboard mainstream rock chart and remains one of the most recognizable rock anthems ever written. What made Kryptonite and Brad Arnold's voice so powerful was its emotional sincerity. There was nothing pretentious about it. It was a young man from a small town singing from his soul, and the world heard him. The album went on to sell over 6 million copies in the United States alone and earned the band a Grammy nomination. The hits kept coming. Songs like Here Without You, When I'm Gone, Be Like That, and Away from the Sun became the soundtrack of a generation. Brad Arnold's distinctive gravelly voice, combined with his genuine emotional delivery, turned every song he sang into something that connected on a profound level. Millions of listeners around the world have a memory tied to a Three Doors Down song, a road trip, a heartbreak, a moment of quiet reflection, and at the center of it all was Brad Arnold. Beyond his artistic gifts, those who knew Brad described a man who was humble, deeply loyal to his Mississippi roots, and genuinely kind. He was a rock star who never forgot where he came from. When he publicly revealed his stage 4 kidney cancer diagnosis, the music world held its breath. True to form, Brad faced his illness with the same quiet strength and honesty that defined his music. He never stopped being grateful. He never stopped being Brad. He was just 47 years old. He leaves behind his family, his bandmates, and millions of fans whose lives were genuinely changed by his music. The rock world has lost one of its most authentic voices. Rest in peace, Brad. The music you gave us will never die. Scott Adams, American cartoonist, age 68, died January 13, 2026. Today we remember Scott Adams, the American cartoonist who created Dilbert, one of the most widely syndicated and culturally influential comic strips in the history of print media. Scott Adams passed away on January 13, 2026, at the age of 68, following a battle with prostate cancer. Scott Raymond Adams was born on June 9, 1957, in Windham, New York. He grew up in a modest household and showed an early aptitude for drawing and humor. After graduating from Hartwick College with a degree in economics, he earned an MBA from UC Berkeley's Haas School of Business and spent years working in the corporate world, first at Crocker National Bank and later at Pacific Bell, the phone company. It was during those years of cubicle life, staff meetings, and middle management bureaucracy that the seed of Dilbert was planted. Adams began submitting his Dilbert cartoons to newspapers in 1989, and United Feature Syndicate began distributing the strip the same year. What made Dilbert different from everything else on the comics page was its setting, the modern corporate office, and its protagonist, an everyman engineer trapped in a world of pointless meetings, incompetent managers, and corporate doublespeak. Readers didn't just enjoy Dilbert, they felt seen by it. By the mid-1990s, Dilbert had become a cultural phenomenon. At its peak, the strip was syndicated in over 2,000 newspapers across 65 countries and translated into 25 languages. Books, calendars, television adaptations, and merchandise followed. The character of the pointy-haired boss became a universal symbol for bad management, a shorthand recognized from Silicon Valley to Tokyo. Adams had captured something true about the absurdity of modern work, and the world couldn't stop reading. Adams also became a best-selling author with books like The Dilbert Principle and How to Fail at Almost Everything and Still Win Big, reaching millions of readers and offering his characteristically contrarian, satirical take on business, success, and human nature. In later years, Adams became a more divisive figure. His public commentary on politics, race, and social issues drew significant controversy, and in 2023, Dilbert was dropped by hundreds of newspapers following remarks he made that were widely condemned. It was a turbulent final chapter for a man who had built his career on skewering the powerful, only to find himself in the center of a very different kind of storm. Whatever one's view of Adams in his later years, the legacy of Dilbert, nearly 4 decades of sharp, smart, funny cartoons that made office workers feel understood, is undeniable. He changed what a comic strip could be and what it could say. Scott Adams was 68 years old. He leaves behind a complicated legacy, but also 10,000 strips of genuine comedic genius. Rest in peace, Scott. The cubicle will never be the same.
Eric Dane, American actor, age 53, died February 19, 2026. Today we remember Eric Dane, the actor whose extraordinary on-screen charisma earned him a devoted global following, and whose final chapter showed us a different kind of courage. Eric Dane passed away on February 19, 2026, at the age of 53, following his battle with amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, ALS, also known as Lou Gehrig's disease, a diagnosis he had publicly shared with the world in 2025. Eric Dane was born on November 9, 1972, in San Francisco, California. He grew up in a creative environment and discovered acting as a teenager, finding in it a world where his natural magnetism and intensity could find full expression. After moving to Los Angeles to pursue his career, he worked steadily in television, building his craft through a series of guest roles and supporting appearances before his big break arrived. That break came in 2006, when he joined the cast of Grey's Anatomy as Dr. Mark Sloan, better known to fans simply as McSteamy. The nickname said everything. Eric Dane walked onto that show and immediately became one of the most talked about new additions in television. Handsome, charming, and with a surprisingly deep emotional range, he brought Dr. Sloan to life as far more than just a pretty face. Over 8 seasons, he developed the character into someone genuinely complex, a man capable of great love, great loss, and real growth. His chemistry with Patrick Dempsey's McDreamy became one of the great male friendships in modern television drama. When his character was written off the show in 2012, fans were devastated. But Dane continued working, taking on roles in The Last Ship, and later landing what many consider his finest performance, Nate Jacobs in the critically acclaimed HBO drama Euphoria. His portrayal of a morally compromised, emotionally layered father figure was a revelation. Gone was the Hollywood heartthrob. In his place was a raw, vulnerable, deeply human performance that showed a side of Eric Dane that many hadn't seen before. Critics took notice. Fans were stunned. He was, at 50 years old, doing some of the best work of his career. And then came the diagnosis. In 2025, Eric Dane publicly announced that he had been diagnosed with ALS. He did so with courage and clarity, without self-pity, in a statement that spoke of his love for his family and his gratitude for every moment he had been given. He continued working on Brilliant Minds right up until his health prevented it, and his professionalism and dedication on set were remarked upon by everyone who worked with him in his final months. Eric Dane died on February 19, 2026. He was 53 years old. He is survived by his children and by the millions of fans who watched him bring some of television's most memorable characters to life. He was more than McSteamy. He was a genuinely gifted actor who showed the world in his final chapter what real courage looks like.
Rest in peace, Eric. You were electric until the very end.
Catherine O'Hara, Canadian actress and comedian, age 71, died January 30th, 2026. Today, we remember one of the most gifted comic performers of her generation, a woman whose talent was so enormous that she made it look effortless. Catherine O'Hara, the Canadian actress and comedian beloved for her roles in Beetlejuice, Home Alone, and Schitt's Creek, passed away on January 30th, 2026, at the age of 71, following a brief illness at her home in Los Angeles. Catherine Ann O'Hara was born on March 4th, 1954, in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. The youngest daughter in a large family, she grew up in an environment full of warmth and humor. Her comedic instincts revealed themselves early, and as a teenager, she began performing with Toronto's Second City Comedy Troupe, one of the most legendary comedy training grounds in North America. It was there that she found her people and honed a style that was completely her own, precise, unexpected, fearless, and always funny. Her big break came with the Canadian sketch comedy series SCTV, which aired from 1976 to 1984. Alongside John Candy, Martin Short, Eugene Levy, Andrea Martin, and others, O'Hara helped create one of the most celebrated comedy ensembles in television history. Her range was astonishing. She could inhabit any character, any accent, any emotional register, and make it sing. Hollywood came calling, and O'Hara answered magnificently. In 1988, she played Delia Dietz in Tim Burton's Beetlejuice, a role that became iconic. Her portrayal of the narcissistic, avant-garde stepmother was so specific, so hilariously committed, and so genuinely strange that it has lived rent-free in the minds of audiences for nearly 4 decades. It was the kind of performance that makes you think, who else could have possibly played that role? 2 years later, she delivered another piece of cinematic history. In 1990, she played Kate McAllister, the frantic, devastated mother, in Home Alone. It is a film that has been watched by hundreds of millions of people around the world, and O'Hara's performance at its emotional center gave the comedy its heart. The scene where she finally reunites with Kevin after Christmas morning is one of the most genuinely moving moments in 1990 cinema. She made you cry in the middle of a movie about a kid setting booby traps. That was Catherine O'Hara's gift. No matter how absurd the material, she brought complete emotional truth to it. And then came Schitt's Creek. The beloved Canadian sitcom, created by her longtime collaborators Eugene Levy and Daniel Levy, ran from 2015 to 2020 and became a global phenomenon. O'Hara's Moira Rose, the faded soap opera star, with her wigs, her wardrobe, her magnificent vocabulary, and her bottomless capacity for self-delusion, is one of the great comic creations in television history. Her Emmy Award for the role in 2020 was not just deserved, it felt like the universe correcting a long-standing oversight. Catherine O'Hara was 71 years old when she passed. She leaves behind a legacy of laughter, of brilliance, and of showing the world that comedy, when done at the highest level, is as profound and as lasting as any art form there is. Rest in peace, Catherine. You were, simply, one of the greatest. Robert Carradine, American actor, age 71, died February 23rd, 2026. Today we remember Robert Carradine, a gifted actor from one of Hollywood's most celebrated families, whose warmth, talent, and decades of memorable performances left an indelible mark on film and television. Robert Carradine passed away on February 23, 2026, at the age of 71.
His family confirmed his passing with a statement that spoke of his struggle with bipolar disorder, which he had battled with great courage for nearly 2 decades. Born on March 24, 1954, in Hollywood, California, Robert was the youngest son of the legendary character actor John Carradine and the brother of actors David Carradine and Keith Carradine. Growing up in a household defined by art and performance, it was perhaps inevitable that Robert would follow the family calling, though he would go on to carve out a path that was entirely his own. His screen career began in the early 1970s, with his debut alongside John Wayne in The Cowboys in 1972, a role his brother David encouraged him to pursue. What followed was an impressive dramatic work. He appeared in Martin Scorsese's Mean Streets in 1973, then in Hal Ashby's Oscar-winning Coming Home in 1978, alongside Jane Fonda and Jon Voight. Samuel Fuller's The Big Red One in 1980 showcased his dramatic depth, and by that point, there were those who whispered that Robert might just be the finest actor in the entire Carradine family. But his most beloved and enduring role came in 1984, when he was cast as Lewis, the head nerd, in Revenge of the Nerds. The film was a massive hit, and Robert's portrayal of Lewis, earnest, passionate, ultimately triumphant, resonated with a generation of young people who had never seen people like themselves celebrated on the big screen. It was, in the very best sense, a film that made outsiders feel like heroes. Robert Carradine was a huge reason why. The role gave birth to 3 sequels, and Robert reprised Lewis each time with the same affectionate commitment. And a generation later, he found a new audience entirely as Sam McGuire, the lovable dad on Disney Channel's Lizzie McGuire, a performance that endeared him to children and parents alike. Through it all, Robert Carradine was known by those who worked with him as a generous, funny, fiercely intelligent man who cared deeply about his craft and even more deeply about his family. He was beloved, and he was suffering privately in ways that most people around him didn't fully see. His family's statement after his death asked for compassion and asked the world to remember that bipolar disorder is a real and devastating illness, and that there is no shame in it. Robert Carradine was 71 years old. He leaves behind his children, grandchildren, his brother Keith, and a career full of performances that will continue to bring joy and meaning to audiences for generations. Rest in peace, Robert. You were more than a nerd. You were a giant.